Welcome to Community Hotline, for the community, by the community. I'm your host, Bob Thang, and today we have special guest, Stephanie. Why don't you introduce yourself?
Hi, my name is Stephanie. I'm Stephie111 on Instagram. Thank you for giving me a platform to speak out and speak about my experiences. And I hope that it can reach at least one person and it will make a difference in their life and empower them to not only empower themselves, but empower others as well.
Got it. Where are you from and how old are you?
I'm 30 years old. I live in Echo Park. Right now, I'm currently staying in Baldwin Park with my mom because she had a double mastectomy surgery. So she's recuperating. But right now I'm in two places. I'm in Echo Park, but right now, currently, physically, I'm in Baldwin Park.
Got it. What is a mastectomy, for those who don't know?
It's when they remove both breasts. She had breast cancer. So she went through chemo and it appeared that the lumps were gone. But her, as a safety precaution, she requested for both of her breasts to be removed, so that way there's no risk of it coming back, at least to that area.
Wow, that's crazy. And how long was that whole process with you and your mom that you had to go through that with her?
Well, she got diagnosed back in October, and she went through chemo up until February, and then she had her surgery about 3 weeks ago. So, yeah, it's been a wild ride. Like, as far as time and experiences and everything, like at this time last year, we had no idea that cancer was ever going to hit our family. But it taught us a lot, you know. It definitely did. Well, again, going back to the connection thing, it taught me a lot of the importance. I feel, in my personal experience, the greatest gift that life has to offer really is love and connection. And as egotistical and hard-headed as I was before, I know that not every battle needs to be fought. And especially with my mother, you know, I had a lot of pent-up anger towards her based on my childhood and yada, yada, yada. But I can...
Personal experience. Share a personal experience.
Yeah. Well, speaking as a female, and the patterns, I guess you could say, the patterns that we come across as far as love and money and pretty much the whole topic of the show. Like I said, she did the best that she could, and you know, she didn't really have it all figured out. So it was kind of like the blind leading the blind. And as far as how I can connect her personal experiences with mine was the toxic relationships we would get into. You know, she looked for love in the wrong places, and I can see how, you know, that, like I said, it's no one's fault, but I pretty much followed the same steps, except she's very calm, and my younger self was very aggressive, and like I said, I was full of rage. So you know, I would throw parties here at home, and then when she would call the police, you know, I would cuss out them and my mom and take off yelling in the middle of the street, and, like, you know, ditching for like months. She got pulled into the district because they had threatened her with jail time if she didn't control me. And I was in and out of juvie as a young kid, drugs and stealing and like just pretty much everything to get attention. You know, like I felt like a nobody and like lost and confused. So that was my only way of getting attention. And looking back at it now, you know, and I'm not proud of it, but it was an experience. It was my life experience. And that's, yeah.
It's one hell of an intro. I just, you know, before we get into the topic of money, did you ever shave your eyebrows? I know some like chicas who like they're real gangsta if you shave your eyebrow.
Yeah, I did.
Yes.
But mine were not like crazy, like McDonald's or nothing. It was just the first time I shaved my eyebrows was a complete accident. I was just trying to clean up like baby hairs right here, and the shaver, it was like the little square ones. It wasn't even a shaver. It was like the little square ones, the razors. And I cut too deep into here, and I took off a whole chunk. And I was like, well, might as well go through with it now.
Yes. I love that. All right, let's get into the first topic of the day, which is money. Tell us, Steph, what is money?
Money to me now, I see it as energy. Before I used to see it as physical, which, yes, obviously we are in this material realm, so it is still something physical that we exchange to one another. But the essence behind it is energy. So something that I've been able to learn from this, again, energy, is I have taught myself to not look at things as like, let's say you get your paycheck, right? I mean, I don't know if you have like a job or anything, but I do have a job. I'm currently on leave right now, which I'm planning, working, organizing, strategizing to like get out of working in a corporation and start my own business. But let's just, in my case, the paychecks come through. Before my past experiences, I would be like, oh, I have to pay this, I have to pay that. So I was looking at it in an aspect of, I have to give it away. I'm going to work and I just give away my money. So that comes from lack, or a perspective of lack, where they're taking from me. You know, they don't deserve it. Like, they have all the money. And that's honestly how I would look at it. Like, they're taking my money for, like, when we have the technology to have free energy, and like, you know, so it was like a victim mindset, I guess you could say, that I had with money, of like, I have to give it away. And so I have been able to teach myself through time not to view it that way. And I have also taught my mom that. I talk to my brothers, they're younger, frequently about that, and how not telling them like this is what it is, but recommendations, or like, again, what we're doing now, speaking from my experiences, giving them a different perspective on how to look at money, because it really is energy. So instead of looking at it like, oh, I have to pay my light bill, like they're going to take it, you know, well, I'm actually exchanging this physical currency, but in exchange for that, I have electricity and I have a working refrigerator, and, you know, just slowly but surely have gone to this point where like, I don't even view it that way anymore. And like, sometimes when money is tight, you know, I before I would sit there and just get lost in this web of my mind of like, fuck, what am I going to do? Like, you know, and again, being able to pull myself in the middle point and view it like, okay, well, this is what's going on now, but what can I do to fix that problem? You know, like, do I have to take on a little side job, or, you know, like, am I okay right now? Like luckily I have a family that, you know, like loves me, and, you know, like, it hasn't had to come to that, but I know if it were to ever come to that, I have a place, you know, so I don't look at it like, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? Like, you know, there's a solution for everything. Not saying like, I'm just kind of like going like this. No, like, I'm able to look at it as like, that's not the end of the world. It may seem like it right now, and it does feel heavy and nasty when those feelings come over of money, because you want to do things. In order to do things, you need to have money. You know, like, you want to go eat, you need to have money. You want to whatever, you need to have money. So, you know, again, another thing that I was able to pull from all this is like, responsibility, self-accountability. Do I need that, or do I want that? And I used to want things a lot. So I would go more for my wants, again, coming from that place of lack.
Right.
I didn't feel fulfilled. I felt still lost, you know, of even who I am and what we are. So I'm sorry, I was going to start going.
How did you view money when you were in high school then? I mean, how did you spend your money in high school compared to how you spend it now?
My mom stopped giving me allowances in the 6th grade, because I started buying weed with it, and, like, you know, alcohol and all of those things. So I stopped getting an allowance after 6th grade. So I didn't have money. For my personal experiences as a young child, everything was provided to me. As far as drugs and anything that I ever wanted, in that negative aspect, I didn't have to worry about bills or nothing like that, because I didn't have that responsibility. So I didn't really have money when I was younger. Everything was just kind of there. Now that I've never thought about that, but yeah, everything was just provided to me. And
even in high school?
Yeah. I mean, my mom like would pay for my things and stuff, but like I said, she stopped giving me allowances, like money to like spend for free things, because she knew what I was doing.
Got it. Okay. What are like 2 money tips you have for the kids?
Learn about credit, and not just credit according to the 3 major credit bureaus. This is something that I'm heavily studying right now myself. Learn your rights, just because we know, well, I know how words, I've been arrested plenty of times, so anything you say can and will be used against you. And when we're talking about corporations and like money, I don't have another way of saying this, but we can clearly see that a certain percentage compared to the rest, so, and there's a reason for that, but we haven't been taught, and even in school, like, what are our rights, like what Congress has came up with, the Federal Trade Commission, just to name a couple, where it's laws that are protecting consumers. And this might be a little bit of a touchy subject, because this is not going into politics. Like, I'm not talking about any president or anything like that. I'm talking about like Congress and the law. The law is written a certain way, and you look at their amendments, and it's like, it's freaking crazy. It's like section this, title this, and so many definitions and numbers and parentheses. Anybody that is I don't know what this. I have better to do. I would recommend to empower yourself by learning your rights as a consumer. If you look up the definition according to Congress of what the United States is, it is defined as a federal corporation. So, and this is a quote that I'm going to use from Umar Clark. His name is Umar Clark. He has an Instagram page. It's his team, the Bureau Bullies. And they don't do credit repair, because I like what he said. How can you repair credit if it's not broken? It's just the broken mindset of not knowing how to read their terminology and then using that as a shield to protect yourself, because those debt collectors do not stop calling. Luckily, when I was younger and I started getting my credit cards at age 18, I was totally irresponsible. But my debt was only $3,000. I know that there's people in debt for like tens of thousands of dollars and hundreds of thousands of dollars on like repossessions, like crazy stuff, where luckily I haven't had to experience that. Mine was just $3,000 because it was little piddly credit cards, So right. Even then, I've been able to have one account removed and my credit has been going up. So it, again, I'm going to quote this like how he said it. It's just a broken mindset. So going back to the question that you asked me, I would highly encourage. I know that it might be discouraging when you first start looking into all of this, but no one's going to want to do it except for yourself. Like, if we're waiting for people to come and do this stuff for us, we're going to be waiting forever. And if you are going to have someone else do it for you, they're going to charge you money. Right. Like, you need to learn your rights as a consumer. Again, we're going back to the written. The States is described or defined by Congress as a federal corporation. And in all of their amendments, at least the ones that I've been able to read when it comes to the credit stuff, the Fair Credit Reporting Act and all of that, they never refer to us as citizens in the amendments. They never refer to us as even borrowers. They call us consumers. So what does that let you know? To me, it was like, whoa, just a simple play on words can be totally used against them. And if you knew how many violations, I don't know, this is just, I'm talking to myself here. Let's just say I'm talking to myself, but you and everybody else also. I'm pretty sure that we've gotten calls from debt collectors, like, this is a call monitored. We're here to collect the debt. Did you know that there's an actual law written? That's $1,000 violation every time they call you without your written consent. Or, okay, let's just take this back a little bit more, like when you're in the store, right? And you give them your ID and your social, and the exchange has been done. That item is already paid for because you use your social security, which is tied into the Federal Reserve. So it really is a play on words. And I feel like people are starting to wake up. So my number one thing I guess I would say about this is just learn your rights. There's outlets where you can get this information. I recommend the Bureau Bullies. They have helped me out a lot. And I've been able to get one removed and work on the other ones. But I don't want to start rambling again.
No, that was great. That was great education. Thank you. Bureau Bullies. Got it. Hit up Stephanie. I feel like that was that was a whole like topic that I wasn't aware of. Did I lose you?
Yeah.
You still there?
Oh no, we're good. We're good. I don't want to start rambling. We're good.
Okay, cool. Let's move on to the second topic, education then. Who were you in high school?
Well, I dropped out my sophomore year. But when I was in school, I was the bad kid, obviously, the troublemaker. Also, I was always at the parties, so that fed my ego to a certain degree. Again, looking for validation, and friends in the street are going to give you the exact kind of validation that you want compared to what you need. So
elaborate on that personal story.
Personal story.
Yeah.
Okay. One time I stole money from my mom. It was like $300. And now that I'm older, I understand that that money was needed for a reason. But I did that so that I could hang out with my friends. So looking back on that, I'm obviously not something that I'm proud of. But I felt like they cared about me more than my own family did. Because they would listen to me and, want to hang out with me. So personal experience that where I chose others instead of my own mother. It's not something that I'm proud of saying, but I can look back why.
Right. Okay. And so from your time, I guess you dropped out when you were like 16. What did you do between like 16 to like 18, 21? What was your life like back then?
Yeah. So freshman year was still kind of good. That I was doing really good in school and all that. Then sophomore year came, and I don't know, just I met the right crowd, and I got busted that first time. It was for stealing, and so I went to Los Padrinos, and then from there I went to the Phoenix House, which is a rehab placement because I was doing meth at the time, and my mom found out. So I got sent to a rehab placement. I did 6 months there, and then I got out, and I got in trouble again, and this time it was for fighting. So the girl and the other witnesses that were there, they went to court to testify against me. So that was another 6 months in the rehab placement. But while I was in Los Padrinos, it was like about a 3-week span, almost a month. And then I got transferred over there. And then by the time I got out, I was like 17, almost 18. And my mom had already been telling me, like, once you turn 18 and you keep this shit up, like, you're going to be on the street because I'm not going to be taking care of you. So when I got out that last time, I was like, oh, shit, like, I need to get it together, like, what am I going to do? And I met someone that he was my boyfriend at the time for 7 years. So I was 17, and I broke up with him when I was almost 24. So when I met him, he did help me out because, he was like, I can't be with a girl that doesn't work. And like, I understand, like, I'm pretty experienced. But yeah, so after I got out, instead of going back to like my friends, and again, this is, what is it called? Codependency. So I didn't go back to them, but I found someone else to fill that void that I was trying to fill. Sorry about that. Let me lower this. That void that I was trying to fill. And it did work out for a good while. I did the whole housewife at a very young age. And then from there, I saw that like it wasn't going to work out. Like we're clearly not, all we would do is just drink and smoke and like, party and like, yeah, we lived together and we like did the essentials and went to work and everything. But like our free time was just getting fucked up and like escaping reality.
Right.
So at one point it just kind of like it snapped and I was like, what the hell am I doing? Like, I'm not happy. You're not happy. Like, why are we doing this? And then, yeah, so I was able to break out of that troublemaker stage because again, I was codependent on someone else and I used that to fill the void. And then it just, yeah.
What would you say?
High school.
What would you say are like 2 defining moments in your life and how do they impact you?
2 defining moments. As far as goals or a way that I wanted to view myself, I always saw myself as a business, like as a business professional. Like even the way I dress when I go out. I mean, sometimes obviously I'll wear like a mini skirt or something like that when I'm feeling, but like for the most part, I like to like, I don't know, I like the businesswoman look. Like to me, that's sharp. It's like, and it's something that I've always seen myself in again. So when I was working at we'll call them a major worldwide shipping company, I was working at the warehouse and I started off as a package handler, which is just basically unloading and loading boxes, what they call starting at the bottom. And I was really good at it because I was able to take out my frustrations in a physical sense. And like the environment at the time was cool because I was just there to work. So like everyone who was around me, it was good. And then I was like, like I want to become a manager. Like I started seeing all of the dock managers walking around with their radios, and like, I was like, yeah, I think I could do that. Like, and I never really thought of like going beyond just entry level jobs. So when I
Right.
set myself and I attained it in less than a year of being there, I pretty much kicked ass, and it was a male dominated building because it's warehouse work, so that it was heavily male populated, and they didn't take that too well. Not everyone, but I started seeing the resistance of like, I've been here for years. So as far as a defining moment, to bring it back, it was the fact that I was able to visualize myself as something more than what I was currently viewing myself as, just another person, just someone working just to work. Like I saw that opportunity, and I was like, I could use that money to start saving up, and I started planning all kinds of things. And so it was just like a defining moment, like you said, of being able to see my power. And even then that was limited because I was still just focused on that company.
Mm.
That one was the first one. It wasn't anything major or anything like that.
It was major. Don't talk like that. It was
Yeah.
definitely major, for
But it
sure.
gave me a sense of like, there's something more to this, and I can definitely do something more than this. And
Got
then
it.
the other one was last night, yesterday when my dog died. It was, I've had people tell me like, it's just a stupid dog. Like, no, that's probably what it is to you, but it's a part of the family. And it was just the concept of death, because we weren't sure if my mom was going to be able to make it past this, so we were already preparing ourselves for our mother's death, and how do you even take that? I don't know how. So I think the defining moment for me as of recently was our dog dying, because as a family, me and my two brothers and my mom, even my stepdad, let's just call him my stepdad, it was an eye opener, because we saw the sentimental, emotional impact of losing something so close to you, that reminded us that I, and some of them too, have been stubborn. And being able to see that experience as love and connection is literally the best gift that this life has to offer. Like, if we're just here and we're breathing and walking around with like no purpose, purpose is what you give yourself. It's not a job or anything like that. It's like, what are you living for? How are you making an impact with the people around you on a daily basis? Even if it's at the store, are you opening the door for that older lady? Like, are you, I don't know, taking the time to just acknowledge people? We're so on our phones, we're so busy in the self, in the bubble, that like, so for me that was like an anchoring moment of like, we can literally die at any moment, and what impact did I make if I were to die now? So that
Right.
just sharpened me up even more. Like, my vision is so much more clear now of what I need to do for myself, and by doing that for myself, I'm going to be able to empower others, you know.
For I want two tips from you. So like I'm just imagining, like a young version of you, or like a young kid who's just super stubborn and super angry, and doesn't really know, like how to, they don't really know that it's okay to feel what they're feeling.
Mm.
But like, what happens if like, some kid in high school, they just lost their dog, or like their mom just got cancer, how would you, like, how did you deal with it when you first found that out, and versus like what can they do to like, not go insane.
Yeah. um I It sounds cheesy, and I really hope that if and like can connect with what I'm saying,
Personal
dedicate
experience.
dedicate at least the very minimum 1 hour to yourself on a daily basis to focus on the things that you want to do. If you're going to school, or you go to school and you have a part-time job, whatever it is that you're doing, at some point throughout the day, you need to dedicate time to yourself, to bring it back to the self and focus on what you want to do. We're so busy taking care of others and going to school, and whatever other responsibilities that you have, that we're giving our energy away so rapidly to just everyone, and that's not including cell phones and Instagram and all this other stuff. Like, that's energy you're pouring into other people and other things. But what are you doing for yourself? For me, dedicating, just when I started off, I think it was Teresa Bullard. She's on Gaia, which is a conscious media network app that I pay for. I can't recall if it was her, so let me just not say it was her. If somebody, a motivational speaker, was saying, like, you're out there, working a 9 to 5, taking care of the kids, taking care of the family, but like, what are you doing for you? How are you bringing it back to you? So in that, bringing it back to me with that, just that 1 hour, I started off with 1 hour. I was able to discover meditation. And it's not just sitting there like some people think it's just Om. And even then, if you understood the concept of Om and how powerful that is, it's a matter of opening your mind to experiencing something new other than the same patterns that we constantly repeat. Like, we want great things, we say we want great things, but what are you doing different to build that bridge and get over that?
No, but what about like let's say, like, what were like the first 30 days like when you found out your mom was like diagnosed with cancer?
Oh,
And not
well,
that wasn't good, was that whole dedicate an hour to yourself, like that's definitely helpful, but I guess more in terms of like, I asked this question, like one of my friends, like, dad died. So I asked him, like, hey, when your dad dies, what happens? Like, what are the steps, right? You go to funeral homes. I'm thinking more like steps, like what to take, like if they just found out like their mom just had cancer or something like that.
oh, okay. Yeah. So the first thing that I did when I found out, I cried. So definitely express those emotions. Don't try to hold them in. It gets stored as physical energy, and you might not see it now, but it'll pop out. It'll pop back up eventually throughout your life. The more we suppress our emotions, it'll come back and bite you in the butt. So the first thing for sure, especially if you're a male, I know that the male population has been taught, don't cry. Crying is for girls. Stop being a
He's
little girl. Express those emotions. Cry. Be angry. Do whatever it is that you must do, but just know that whatever choice that you decide to make, it has a cause and effect. So if you're going to go and escape reality by doing drugs and drinking and, whatever outlet or a way of escaping that's not in a healthy manner, I definitely wouldn't recommend that. But just know that that is a route that you decide to take. When you come across disappointing information, you're only hurting yourself. You're not really doing anything to solve the mindset, not necessarily the problem, because you just can't go in there and say, cancer, be gone. How are you going to mentally prepare yourself? First of all, express those emotions, because that's going to get a lot of energy out. Because if you just hold it in, it's just going to be pent up and you're just going to be a walking time bomb. So definitely express emotions. Educate yourself as much as you can on the topic, and see what you can do to be there for the person.
Personal experience, personal story.
Personal experience. So like I said before, I didn't have the best relationship with my mom. But through this, and even then, when I first found out, I was still kind of standoffish, just because, I don't know, I still had to process a lot of things from my childhood. So like, I was kind of standoffish, and in me being in that way, energetically, she could sense it. So I gave her the impression that I didn't care about her. So when I say, be there for the person, I know it takes a lot. Person is, in this case, it's my mother. I should have, in that time frame, been able to put my ego to the side and view it as like someone going through it. Like, what can I do to be of assistance to you? I didn't do that often as I should have. I did do it, but it wasn't as often as I should have. Like I said, because I live separate, I'm here at her house right now, but this is not where I have my own apartment. I would use the excuse of, I'm tired because I just got off of work, like having to drive over. I use my selfish excuses to not be there for her as often as I should have been. I was there, but it wasn't, I guess, what she was expecting. And that comes to communication. To me, I didn't think that I wasn't intentionally like, I don't care. Like, I do care. It's just that my way of expressing is totally different, and I can't read your mind. So if you don't communicate with me what you want, what days you want me here, like, and even then, like, that probably sounds bad, but just the lack of communication, I think, from both of our ends, I would definitely, I would suggest to open up a line of communication, and realize that that other person doesn't know what you're thinking. We think, oh, they should know because they know me, but they don't. And you have to be, I don't want to say the bigger person, but just, I guess, logical, using your, not logical, put yourself in their shoes, like, like, what would you want, and if it's something like, oh, totally, she wouldn't want that, like, well, then talk to her, communicate. What do you need from me, mom? Like, what can I do? Like, does something hurt? Do you need to go to the doctor? Like, I don't know, do you feel like having a cup of coffee? Something simple as that, now that I've been back home, waiting that with her, and like last and everything, and like, she knew I wasn't good, and just her giving me this. It's something as simple as this. The connection, communication, personal experience is just that. Express those emotions, definitely feel what you need to feel, but open up a line of communication also with that said individual, because you can't read their mind and they can't read yours. So how are to, just the blind leading the blind,
We're not, we can't.
Communication, definitely.
Communication. That's the key point, guys. Love it. Let's go on to the last topic of the day, which is love. Tell us, what is love?
Love is something that is within you. Speaking from personal experience, I didn't receive the ideal version of what love has been said it's supposed to be, to the movies and the TV and everything. Like, that's fantasy. So we grew up staring into that box of images, and of course it was programmed into our brains. So we had a totally false narrative on what love is, and we were so disconnected already as it is, because we've been born into that generational trauma. To me, love is something that you have to have within yourself. And again, personal experience, the toxic partners and everything. Well, why was that happening? In that moment, I was thinking from a victim mindset, but in reality, I was the one who was putting that energy out, and that's exactly what I was receiving back. So that one was a face slapper for sure when that realization came through, because these realizations come through as like epiphanies, I guess we could call them, or whatever. Just, it's like a moment where, like, oh, and some of them are not pleasant, because you have to look at yourself, and like, and that time I was like, shit, like, I was in a total victim mindset, and I felt embarrassed. There's no one around me, but just within myself, I felt a tremendous amount of shame and like
personal experience about your victim mindset.
Victim mindset.
Personal experience.
Why does this always have to happen to me? Why, like, I would like a guy, and it seemed like everything was going good, and then like, obviously it didn't end up good. It would either be like physical dates, or like, just the same pattern that I was starting to see in my past experiences being played out right in front of me. And it's like, epiphany was, again, the victim mindset, but that one was more, I was on LSD. And I don't know, I'm not saying like do that to younger kids, so I'm not sure if that would be appropriate, but speaking from personal experience, that's when the victim mindset realization came through, because I saw that I was looking at myself as like things being done to me and things being taken away from me, and like, again, me, but I was the one who was feeding everyone, not just like my family, like everyone around me. I was the one feeding them that energy. And it was like, well, no shit, it didn't work out. No wonder I don't have any friends. Like, no wonder, like, and it was just like a big, like, realization of it really is the mindset. So, I mean, as far as the shame and the guilt, that ties into like other things too. Like, I have an experience where I was drugged and raped when I was 24. I was at a club with my friend. And long story short, I woke up with like everything robbed. I totally don't remember anything. And it wasn't like, oh, are you sure you weren't just like, no, like, I remember we got there, we had one drink. Next thing you know, I was out, totally in a totally different location. She was not next to me. Like, it was just the whole sketchy experience. So that also kind of tied into the victim mindset, but that was more when I was older, because I felt violated, because I was violated. But then again, I not saying that I deserve that, because I don't think anyone deserves that, but I see how my actions previous to that led me up to that moment. And the other person I was around, you know, she was just as toxic, if not worse. So it's like, it wasn't a like, oh my God, I was just at the Superior drinking my horchata and like someone slipped in and like, you know, it was like, I put myself there. And luckily nothing, you know, I wasn't killed and murdered and dismembered and all of that, how you hear on the news and everything. But I had to swallow that pill, and like, you know, I put myself there. And I shouldn't have been there, because what I was doing is I went out with the intention of just escaping, of getting fucked up, and, you know, like just forgetting. That's all I would do. I would just drink every day, like just to escape.
What would you say? What would you say to like maybe younger girls, you know, who have been raped? You know, how do you deal with that? Top 3 tips.
Top 3, definitely communicate with someone that you trust. I held it in. I didn't think like, I didn't honestly feel like I could talk to my mom about it. Like, there's no way that she, in that moment, I didn't think that I could, because of what I just told myself. She would have told me, well, what are you doing there? You put yourself there, you know, what were you wearing? How were you dressed? Like, and I just didn't want to hear that. So when I communicate, look in your heart, to be able to decipher what energies you trust. Not saying that I didn't, but in that moment, we were both totally broken mindsets. So there's no way that we didn't have that line of communication. There's no way that could have happened. And for other young females or even males, you know, males get raped pretty often. It's just not really heard about, you know. Communicate with someone that you trust. And if you don't feel comfortable talking to someone, like, I don't know, man. Like, there's no point of trying to be like, I'm Mrs. Tough Guy. I'm Mr. Macho Man. Like, you know, we're entitled to these emotions. We're supposed to be feeling these emotions. This is what we're here for, is to have these experiences, to have these emotions. And I just can't express enough. Just like express, communicate. And again, you can't just communicate just to anyone, because not everyone is going to be able to comprehend. So the level of comprehension has to be, again, deciphered from the person. Is this person going to be able to understand what I'm saying? I don't need feedback. I just need to get this out, you know? And then also another thing, you know, you can't just go dumping your stuff on like everyone, like, because some people are not aware of themselves, where that can drain them unintentionally, because they're not, like, just having that discernment within yourself. Who can I share this with? And if you don't feel like talking to anyone in your immediate circle, there's online therapy things. I personally have not used those outlets. School, I know schools definitely have programs like that, where you can talk to someone, your school therapist, a counselor. I mean, I really don't know, because I didn't have that experience at that particular time. The one when I was an adult. I did have another situation too when I was younger, but I was a little girl, so like that one was totally blocked off from my brain up until like a couple years ago, where I had to revisit that part of my broken self. But we'll stick to the older kids, middle school, high school kids. There's outlets. And I don't know the names of like the WW places that you can go to, but I know that I have heard ads on YouTube, like, you know, like, you just need to talk to someone. Have free. It's even free. Most hotlines are free. There's hotlines that you could call, you know, depending on how severe not even just rape, but whatever experience that you had that's making you feel some type of way, and you feel like you're absolutely alone. And I know, because I've been there before, you know. There's outlets. You're not alone. There's other people going through the same exact thing, just in a different situation, in a different body, on a different situation on Earth. Like, we're so alone and closed off, because again, what we've been taught, we weren't programmed to have that community, to have that connection. But it's out there. You just have to be willing enough to open yourself up to it and let those opportunities come. Because if you're just closed off and thinking, I don't need to talk to anybody, I'll figure this out on my own, you're only hurting yourself. And it's just a matter of time before it's going to come back, because everything is energy, and it's going to come back. What you put out eventually comes back. I'm not saying that if you got raped, that's your fault. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying your reaction of how you choose to proceed from that particular experience, coming back to the point, you have a choice. So are you going to just keep it to yourself because open up your mind a little and try to let.
I'm sorry, did you go?
Hello? Oh, yeah.
Sorry. Yeah.
Can you hear?
I can hear you. The last thing you said was
Okay.
Just express yourself, communicate it out. Don't keep it in is the main message I got, right?
There's definitely resources. And if you're middle school or high school and you think I don't have the money to go to it, there's free resources. You just have to look, I'll personally do this on my Instagram. If this message connected with someone and you guys like, I'll do that after this. I'll go and I'll look up free resources and I'll put that on my feed, on my stories on my main page. So that way there's some sort of reference, because I know that I just blurted that out, but I haven't personally used them. But because I blurted it out, now I'm gonna go and back it up. So I will go and I'll look it up. It's literally Google. You just have to type it and pretty much gives you everything. And I'll post up some resources for anyone that has experienced that or knows someone that has experienced that. There's definitely resources. There's people out there who want to help you. Not everyone is out to hurt you. And speaking from personal experience, I used to think that a lot too. I used to think everybody was just trying to take advantage of me. So not everyone is trying to take advantage of you. There's people who want to help. You just have to be willing enough to open yourself up to those opportunities and let that help come in. We can only take so much. We're human.
I love it. Well, that's all the time that we have today, guys. Thank you for joining us, Steph. Do you have any last words?
Thank you for giving me a platform to speak about. This is something that has been in the back of my mind, as I wasn't sure if it was going to be me, the one starting a podcast, because I already have a lot on my plate as far as the amendments and everything, the credit thing that I'm talking about.
Right.
But there's a lot of people who have a story to tell, and egotistical me. It's just like my whole purpose of even reaching out to you and asking you if I can be on your platform is because I know that this is going to be able to help someone. It might not be tomorrow, but I want to spread this message because I think it's very important, because it's not a message that's being spread on TV or just in general. Really, you have to be at a certain vibration to be able to open up this kind of information. So whoever's following you is on the same vibration, and I would like for the youth to be able to learn from our experiences and our mistakes so that they don't have to do that, avoiding that unneeded pain, because we have free will. We have choice. Again, going back to the self, when we have a choice, I just wanted to open myself up and just be completely transparent. There's nothing to hide, there should be no shame. We're humans and we have a history,
Love it. Well, thank you for sharing, Steph. If you guys want to follow her, check her out. Her IG's on there. Other than that, we'll catch you guys next time. See ya.